And it's very hurtful to a number of us that this part of what we asked for in that resolution was to ask President Hanson to take a stance on behalf of the university in opposition of the amendment, and that this announcement came out preempting that vote was very hurtful. One last thing I would like to say is to address the students who so bravely acknowledge their experiences of being unsafe in the world and coming to Hamline as a place to be safe. And President Hanson's comments that are very important in terms of, you are safe here. Come here, talk to me, I'll listen to you. That's what's been happening today. We have been knocking. Yes. And part of the problem in terms of people not feeling safe is that this action to not take action has left people unsafe. Thank you.
I need to understand more, and I hope that I can have some more dialogue, because if any student told me they felt unsafe because of any reason, that's got to be very, very high on my priority list. So I need to understand more about going forward, beyond changing the decision, but what can we do? I want to be certain that the student in front and the student who spoke earlier very eloquently about your feelings and the hurt. I can't ignore that, and I won't ignore that.
You've been ignoring it.
No, I'm not ignoring it. No, I'm not ignoring it. If I were ignoring it, I wouldn't even be here. We are here to listen and to engage in conversation. Now, if you want to be impolite, go ahead. But we are trying our very, very best to provide a space, and I'm trying to be as candid as I can be, that if you feel unsafe, I need to know, particularly, besides all of the comments and questions that we've had about the amendment, if there are other reasons, then I would like to have continuing dialogue about that, and perhaps the Hedgeman Center or some others could help us arrange those dialogues. I would welcome that. Please.
All right, my name is Amy, and I'm a freshman here. And I would just like to comment on the idea of neutrality, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Political neutrality is really messed up nowadays, and where neutral means you can't appreciate a place where everyone can get married. A place for everyone is a neutral place. A place for only straight people is not neutral. By choosing to be politically neutral, you are opposing true neutrality and equality for everyone. And after all, if you don't support gay marriage, you don't have to get one.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here. This really put me on and made me feel that I'm not alone. So thank you. My name is Rebecca. I am a MFA student in the creative writing program, which Hamline is renowned for. And I got my undergrad degree in political science and international relations, and I just want to comment briefly on how so far the entire argument coming from Hamline higher administration has been that we need to vote. We need to vote as individuals, because being inclusive means that we all have the freedom to voice our opinions. We all have the freedom to be ourselves. I have a problem with that, because laws exist because individuals cannot exert their full freedom. If they do, I can go up to someone and poke them with my pen whenever I want. That's my version of freedom. Can I do that? No, I cannot, because that will incur all kinds of chaos in this world. That's why laws exist. So we know the limit to our freedom. We know the limit to our voice. As far as inclusivity goes, you cannot be neutral and be inclusive. Inclusivity is something you court. And this is what I mean. Being inclusive means that you give those who do not have as strong a voice. And being neutral does not do that. Being neutral comes from a place of privilege. You can only afford to be neutral when it does not directly affect you. When someone's not pointing a gun in your head because you don't look white. You can only afford to be neutral because when you're not being paid an unfair wage because of the way your genitals are. You can only afford to be neutral when you have papers. When you're not the ones that are unprotected because of the place they were born. So today I have a question, and I do not need an answer. I just want you all to think about this. When there is an amendment proposed on the table trying to curb the freedom of the average heterosexual white person in this country, would you remain neutral or not?
We have all been talking about a broader picture, but we're focused on little details in it. And the main issue here is diversity. And Hamline here is pride. They have a lot of pride for the diversity here. But what I'm not going to be talking about the amendment because I feel like that is part of the diversity. What I'm talking about here today is how can Hamline have so much pride and diversity when this great building, and I think everyone here can agree that this building here is really cool, right? It's a great building. But how can we build a building when we did not fundraise more than 50% of the cost, leading the administration to cut the diversity integration? Diversity integration, they have less than 10% of the financial aid that they have previously, and that is less than the biggest student org here, which is Pride BSA. They have more money. They have more money than the new diversity integration. And how can we do that if we have so much pride and diversity? And I do not need an answer for this.
Just a factual correction. It was not 50% of the money for this building. This building cost $36 million and over $20.1 million has been raised, plus another very, very big gift that we're going to be announcing soon. So 50% is not quite correct, but I take your point, and I would encourage you to visit with Provost Jensen on the issue of the budget for diversity integration. That's a whole other topic. It's a good topic, and I think it should be, he'll be happy to meet with you and talk with any of you about that. It's a different approach, but we want to be certain that it's resourced appropriately. So thank you for bringing it up.
All right, well, it's funny how you get up here and your mind goes blank. I do have a question for the Board of Trustees. Who does make up the Board of Trustees? Is it just alumni, people who like this place? I actually don't personally know. Does anybody know? I know, yeah, it's not students, so
Well, I can tell you, I mean, the board right now is made up of 24 members. And I'm doing this just off the top of my head, we're about 60% alumni. The others are members of the communities. Not all of them live here, but sometimes they come in from we have only a couple of members that don't live here full time. We are over 50% women, which is something that's quite unusual, except in all women's colleges and universities.